Okay, so I'm going to work on how to wrap your hands for training, okay? When you start to make contact in your punching techniques, you want to make sure you protect your wrist and your hand as you start punching, making contact, okay? So for that we use hand wraps. The whole idea with the hand wrap is to make sure that your fist stays square, you align your knuckles with your elbow, and you put a splint on your wrist to support the wrist, so it doesn't go like this or like this, okay? The other thing, of course, is to protect the knuckles. For that, you're going to be wearing a glove or things of that nature, but this is going to be the basic hand wrap. So there's hand wraps to, number one, splint the wrist and cover the knuckles. You can also weave in between each fingers to create a stronger fist. Or you can also put a pad, either a separate pad, or you can use the hand wraps themselves to make the pad. I'll show you the last one right now, okay? There's a number of different hand wraps out there. You want to make sure that the longer the hand wrap, the easier it is for you to wrap your hands, okay? Some of them will say, for example, like this one says 108. This is going to be a shorter hand wrap, which will run out faster. This one is 180, and this will give you more wrap to work with. Also, this particular brand is a little bit flexible. It has a little bit of give to it, whereas some of these other ones are very fixed. They don't stretch, okay? So you can work with these, but the one I suggest is kind of like this one, where there's a little bit of flex. It's got a little bit of give to it, a little bit of elasticity, okay? So, all right, so the first thing you're going to do for this particular technique is unwrap your hand wraps, okay? So I'm going to put the velcro side out this way, and I'm just basically going to open the hand wrap this way. So now, as I put the loop on, I will end up with the velcro coming on the outside, okay? So, for basic hand wraps, you get the thumb loop. Start with your thumb loop, put it to the back of the hand, and start working away from your thumb, from your back of your hand away from your thumb. You don't want to come towards your thumb or towards this way or inward, because that's going to make your hand go like this. And what you want is your hand to be pulled open this way, to, again, to strengthen that wrist, okay? From this position here, you can go from the wrist, wrap the thumb, wrap the wrist, and then start working around your hand and then connecting that to your wrist and like this, and then start going individual, okay? For this particular one, we're going to make a pad. So for the pad, you don't start with hooking your thumb. For the pad, you're going to make the pad first. So what I do is I hook my pinky in the little loop, spread my fingers to make the pad wider than my knuckles, and I loop it over. Depending how long your string is, you may need to make more loops, or it might be really shorter like this one is, and you'll only need less loops. So what I mean is wrap it around your fingers like 3 or potentially 4 times. So I normally do 3. I'm going to open my fingers like this. See that? Put it on the pinky, open my fingers, go 1, 2, 3. And then from there, between my fingers, I'm going to pinch that out, kind of square it up a little bit. And this is going to be my pad that I'm going to put on my knuckles. As you can see, once I put it on, I'm going to put it across my knuckles, pinch it with my thumb. The pad itself is wider than my knuckles. You don't want it to be short like this, you want it to be wider. So now that I've got it on my knuckles, pinch it with my thumb, I'm going to begin to wrap. So the first thing is to hold it in place. I'm going to take the slack out and start with the back end. The back end to hold it in place. So the pad is right over my knuckles. I'm going to go around and catch just the front of the pad, and then back to my thumb. Okay? So I wrap the back part of the pad, the front part of the pad, now I go around my thumb. After I go around my thumb, I'm going to go once around the wrist. So now we've touched the pad, and once around the wrist. Now I'm going to come around the thumb. So always going away, remember, from the back of the hand, away from the thumb. So after I've gone around the wrist once, I'm going to go to my thumb, and away. Okay, so we've done pad, once around the wrist, once around the thumb. From here, I'm going to work from the crook of my thumb here, weave in between each finger. And as I weave through each finger, I'm going to come out the web of the hand to the outside and then back to the crook. So from here, let's start the pinky. I go from the crook, between the pinky, out the web, back to the outside of my hand. See how I did that? From the crook of my thumb, through the pinky, out through the web, and then back to the back of my hand. Back to the crook, we go to the second one, here, web, back. Last one, here, web, and back. That takes care of all that. So now it's all secure. Depending on how much you have left over, you can do a wrap around the knuckles, and then go back, or once you've got all four, you can finish up on the wrist. I usually try to finish up, make sure the wrist is nice and strong. So from here, I'm going to finish up so it's nice and strong. You have a nice strong wrist, your thumb is being pulled back, cocked back, you got padding on your knuckles, and your wrist is supported. Now you can work on your speed bag, or if you're going to use a heavy bag, punching more power, put your glove on over this, okay? So that's the basic way to wrap your hand.